I stood alone in the bride's room at Domaine Carneros, one of the oldest vineyards in Napa Valley, California. The West Coast afternoon sunlight filtered through the stained glass windows, dyeing the rows of ripe grapes outside into a vivid painting, as if the entire valley was whispering blessings. But today, that whisper only made my heart heavier. I stared at my reflection in the full-length antique mirror, with its glossy walnut wood frame. The white silk wedding dress hugged my body closely, the exquisite seams embracing the curve of my hips, and the delicate lace at the wrists sparkled under the gentle light. The designer had cleverly accented it with small crystals, sparkling like morning dew on the vineyard fields. My face, meticulously made up by a makeup artist from San Francisco, looked sharper than ever. My brown eyes exuding resilience, high cheekbones perfectly contoured, and lips in pale pink lipstick, the color of the white lilies waiting on the vanity. The pristine white lily bouquet, interspersed with glossy green eucalyptus leaves, tied with a cream silk ribbon, a detail I had carefully chosen, because lilies symbolize purity and new beginnings. They awaited me, just like the entire day awaited. But in this moment, I felt like a wax statue, beautiful but soulless. The wind from the garden wafted through the door crack, carrying the sweet scent of ripe grapes blended with the smell of wild lavender growing along the hills. Napa Valley, with its winding roads through lush green vineyards, rolling hills under golden sunlight, should have been paradise for a wedding. And it was, until I realized that my paradise was missing the most important pieces. I glanced at my phone for the 18th time in the past 20 minutes. The screen lit up, but nothing. No message from Mom, no call from Dad, and certainly no trace from Sophia, my sister. "We'll fly from Portland to Napa right away, honey," Mom had promised over the phone 3 weeks ago, her voice warm like the morning coffee we used to share in the Oregon suburbs. "I'll wear that emerald green dress you like, and Dad will bring a bottle of wine from the family cellar. Sophia's excited too, you know, she'll be the maid of honor." That promise echoed in my head like a sad melody, a violin tune lost in a joyful symphony. I had believed her, why not? It was my wedding, the day I imagined the entire Hayes family would gather, making up for the years I quietly existed in the shadow of Sophia, the golden child with debate medals and grand dreams of becoming a big lawyer. A brief flashback pulled me back to Portland, to the white colonial-style wooden house in the suburbs, where I was 8. Proudly holding my hand-drawn painting to show Mom after the elementary school art exhibition. "Mom, the teacher said I have special talent," I exclaimed, my eyes sparkling. Mom glanced over, with a forced smile, then turned back to Sophia's stack of papers. "Yeah, that's great, honey, but now Mom has to help your sister review for the national debate. She's going to Harvard, you know." Dad patted my shoulder, mumbling, "Sophia needs more support, daughter. You're very independent, aren't you?" Independent, that word sounded like a compliment, but to me, it was like a sentence. "You take care of yourself, because there's only room for one star." And so I did, from college scholarships to a startup in Silicon Valley, all just to hope that one day they'd turn around and look at me. Today, the wedding day, was supposed to be that peak, but the phone remained silent. A gentle knock on the door sounded, pulling me back to reality. The door cracked open, and Mrs. Elena, the wedding planner with 10 years of experience in Napa, poked her head in. She wore an elegant gray suit, silver hair neatly bunned, a professional smile but unable to hide the slight worry in her brown eyes. "It's time, Olivia," she said, her voice gentle like the wind through the vineyards. "Ready?" I took a deep breath, trying to smile, but it twisted on my lips. My hands trembled as I picked up the lily bouquet, the smooth petals touching my skin like a fragile reminder of beauty that can shatter. "They're not coming, are they?" I whispered, my voice trembling despite my efforts to hold it back. Elena stepped fully in, closing the door behind her, and placed a hand on my shoulder. Her smile faded a bit. "There's still time, dear. Maybe the flight is delayed, or Sophia's event is running long." Sophia's event. Again. 3 weeks ago, my sister called, her voice whiny. "Sis, I have a big trial in Portland, can't miss it. Mom and Dad have to come cheer me on too. You understand, right? Your wedding is just one day." I nodded, but inside, a wave of loneliness surged. Elena led me to the large window, white sheer curtains swaying lightly. Outside, the wedding garden was ready. 100 guests sat on white chairs draped in silk, arranged in neat rows under sunshades. The string quartet violin ensemble was playing Pachelbel's Canon in D, the melodious tune spreading through the air, blending with the chirping of sparrows on the old vine branches. The Napa Valley view stretched before me, lush green rows of vines winding through low hills, afternoon sun gilding the leaves, and in the distance, the antique buildings of Street Helena peeking like an invitation to a sweet future. But then, my eyes stopped at the first row. 3 empty chairs, like 3 open wounds in the heart of the outdoor chapel. The chairs for Dad, Mom, and Sophia, the people who should be sitting there, wiping tears and clapping as I walked out. Instead, only emptiness, a cold emptiness, as if they had never existed in my today. Tears welled up, but I swallowed them back. No, I wouldn't cry. Not today, not because of them. I had spent 2 years planning this wedding, from choosing the Domaine Carneros vineyard with its underground cellar full of premium Chardonnay bottles, to inviting friends from Silicon Valley and Jackson's family from Texas. Jackson Reed, the man waiting for me at the altar, with his warm smile and blue eyes that said I love you, no matter what. He was the reason I was still standing here, bouquet in hand, wedding dress without a single wrinkle. I breathed deeply, the scent of ripe grapes and lavender rushing into my nose, a sweet but bitter mix. Let's start, I said to Elena, my voice firmer than I thought. She nodded, opening the door to the garden. The violin swelled, and I stepped out, alone, but not lonely. My eyes locked on Jackson, standing there in his navy suit, a white lily boutonniere identical to my bouquet. He smiled, and in that moment, the emptiness in the front row faded. Today wasn't about them. Today was about us, about a new beginning where I no longer had to chase recognition from past ghosts. The bride's room door opened gently, and I took my first step out into the garden of Domaine Carneros, where the Napa Valley air embraced me like a gentle but challenging whisper. The pebble-stone path under my feet, each white stone polished smooth by California sun, led straight to the flower arch altar draped in white lilies and eucalyptus. The afternoon wind from the vineyard hills rustled softly, lightly shaking the petals on the bouquet in my hand, carrying the scent of wild lavender blended with the damp earth smell after this morning's light rain. The violin from the string quartet echoed, Pachelbel's canon in D swelling like a serene river, its delicate notes weaving through every vine leaf. 100 guests, friends from my Stanford college days, colleagues from Vista Creative Labs in San Francisco, and Jackson's warm relatives from Texas, turned to look at me. Their smiles were radiant, but behind them, I sensed other glances. Furtive looks of pity, like invisible pats on the shoulder touching my skin, making the silk of my wedding dress suddenly heavy. I walked slowly, one step, then another, my high heels clicking rhythmically on the pebbles like my pounding heartbeat. Mia, my best friend from college, sat in the third row, her eyes glistening with tears, not from emotion but from sympathy. I knew, because she had whispered to me last night. They'll come, Liv. But if not, you're still the queen of this Napa. Jen, my creative team lead, pursed her lips, clutching her glass of Chardonnay tightly, as if holding back anger on my behalf. And then, my eyes swept over the front row, 3 empty chairs, draped in swaying white silk in the wind, like silent ghosts accusing the absence of Mom and Dad and Sophia. No Olivia Hayes with her perfectly social smile, no Richard with his awkward shoulder pat, and no Sophia, the star sister who was supposed to be the maid of honor, holding a secondary bouquet and whispering empty well wishes. They were busy with the lawyer event in Portland, a local trial that Sophia swore was unmissable. Once again, I was pushed to the edge. My steps slowed for a beat, and memories flooded back like a strong wind from the Pacific, sweeping away the resilient shell I tried to build. I was 10, standing in the Franklin Elementary School auditorium in the Portland suburbs, under the glaring fluorescent lights of the PTA meeting, Parents Teachers Association, where every American parent gathered to boast about their kids' achievements like a mini beauty pageant. I held my certificate for first place in the local art contest, an abstract painting of Vineyard Hills, even though I hadn't been to Napa then, with watercolor splashes on the paper. And my teacher Miss Harper had hugged me, whispering, "You have real talent, Olivia. This is the start of a great artist." I ran to my parents, sitting in the middle row, hope flickering in my small chest. "Mom. Dad. I won first place. The teacher says I could go to art school." My voice echoed, drowning out the murmurs of other parents chatting about school funds. But Mom just glanced at the paper, her smile polite but distant, like when she greeted guests at the local golf club. "Oh, that's wonderful, honey. But now it's Sophia's turn. She just won the state debate silver medal." Dad nodded, clapping enthusiastically as Sophia, 8 years old, in a tiny suit and ponytail, stepped onto the stage, holding the shiny silver trophy under the lights. The whole auditorium erupted in applause, and my parents stood up, snapping photos nonstop with their old Canon, sending them right away to Grandma in the Midwest. "Our daughter will be a big lawyer, Richard," Mom whispered to Dad, her voice full of pride, while I stood there, my certificate crumpled in my hand, feeling like a deflated balloon. On the drive home to the white colonial wooden house, Mom turned to me from the driver's seat of the Subaru Outback. "Why don't you focus like your sister? Sophia will be a big lawyer, you know. She needs this support to get into Harvard. You're very independent, aren't you? Maybe you should try debate." Those words were like a knife, sweet but sharp, etching into me that I would forever be the second child, the backup, the one who didn't need coddling because you can handle yourself. The inner conflict surged as I continued walking, the Napa wind shaking my wedding dress, the crystals sparkling like unshed tears. Am I forever the second child? That question twisted deep in my heart, making my breath hitch. All these years, I had tried to prove otherwise. Full scholarship to Stanford, building Vista Creative Labs from a cramped Palo Alto garage into a $1 million company in Silicon Valley, where I design creative apps for overlooked young artists. Each achievement was a brick in a wall of defense, but why today, under Napa's golden sun, did that wall crumble? The guests' glances, furtive looks from the middle rows, where colleagues whispered, "It's a shame for her, what kind of American family is that?" only reminded me that I wasn't just walking alone down this aisle, but through my entire life. Sophia, with her sputtering lawyer career in Portland, was always the priority. PTA meetings where Mom and Dad cheered. "Our daughter will change the world." Summer vacations at Lake Tahoe just because she needs to relax after debate. And me? A certificate in a drawer, a mumbled compliment if I was lucky. But then, I lifted my head, and Jackson appeared at the end of the aisle. He stood there, tall in his tailored navy suit, the lily boutonniere quivering in the wind, his blue eyes locked on me like a lighthouse in a storm. There was no pity in that gaze, only pure, steadfast love, solid as the ancient vines out there. I quickened my final steps, and when I reached the altar, a flower arch draped in white lilies and vines, he took my hand. His skin was warm, firm, dispelling the chill from the Napa wind. "I'm here," Jackson whispered, his deep voice with a hint of Texas drawl, low enough for only me to hear amid the swelling violin. "We're enough." I squeezed his hand, tears threatening, but I swallowed them. "I choose you," I replied, my voice soft but firm, "not them." In that moment, the emptiness in the front row was no longer a wound, but a space I willingly left, for what wasn't worthy. The wedding continued around me, like a serene flow of Napa Valley. The officiant, an old friend of Jackson's from Austin, smiled warmly under the flower arch, beginning the ceremony. The violins softened, making way for our vows. I looked deep into Jackson's eyes, breathing in the scent of lilies and ripe grapes, and began. "Today, I choose a future where we truly see each other, not through the lens of expectations, not through invisible voids, but through authentic love, every day." Those vows weighed heavier than any promise I'd ever made to my family, but with Jackson, they felt light as a breeze. He smiled, and I knew, from now on, I was no longer the second child. I was Olivia Hayes Reed, the woman who built her own path. My vows hung in the Napa air, sweet as the faint scent of Chardonnay from the chilled bottles on the altar. Jackson looked at me, his blue eyes sparkling under the afternoon sun, and repeated his promise. "I choose you every day, Olivia, not out of duty, but because you're my light." His voice was deep and warm, with that drawn-out Texas drawl, like an old country ballad echoing from his dad's truck radio. The officiant, Mr. Tom, an old family friend of the Reeds from Austin, beamed broadly, raising his hands high. "By the power vested in me by the state of California and a love greater than all, I pronounce you husband and wife. Jackson, you may kiss the bride." Applause erupted from the 100 guests, drowning out the violin shifting to the cheerful "Here Comes the Sunday." Jackson leaned down, his lips brushing mine lightly but with fire, not a performance, but a silent affirmation that we had chosen each other, amid the voids others left. As we turned to face the crowd, the white lily wreath on my head quivering in the wind, I felt the stark difference. No cheers from the front row, no Elaine dabbing tears with a silk handkerchief, no Richard clapping Jackson on the shoulder in that American man way. "Welcome to the family, son." Instead, Linda Reed, Jackson's mom, a Texas native with honey blonde hair piled high and a smile as wide as the cotton fields in Lubbock, rushed forward first. She hugged me so tightly I nearly dropped my bouquet, her jasmine perfume mingling with the faint BBQ smoke from the dinner wafting by. "Oh, my darlin'," she whispered, her voice in that southern drawl, "now you're a Reed. Not Hayes anymore, but our family, with all the grilled meat dinners and all-night stories." Her words were warm like the first hug after a storm, dispelling the chill from the 3 empty chairs. Jackson's relatives, his tall cousins from Dallas, in plaid shirts and cowboy hats slung over pickup trucks, clapped thunderously, hollering yeehaw. As if this were a rodeo, not an elegant Napa wedding. That was chosen family, the family you pick, in complete contrast to my cold bloodline, where love always came with conditions and priorities. We moved to the reception tent under the large white canopy, where paper lanterns hung dangling from old vine branches, casting a soft golden light like stardust over the valley. The late afternoon Napa air carried the scent of grilling meat from the California-Texas fusion buffet table. Fresh grape salad with local goat cheese and walnuts, next to slow-smoked Texas Angus brisket, drizzled with spicy honey sauce and served with crispy cornbread. Those dishes, the creation of a local chef, blending southern rusticity with West Coast elegance, had the guests laughing and chatting animatedly, wine glasses sparkling under the lanterns. The band switched to bluegrass, banjo and fiddle echoing from the tent corner, Jackson's relatives jumping into a circle dance, pulling me in. Jackson spun me under the twinkling lights, his hand firm on my waist, and in that moment, I temporarily forgot everything. Forgot the 3 empty chairs, forgot Mom's promise to fly from Portland, forgot even Sophia with her unyielding lawyer event. Laughter drowned out the inner loneliness, applause to the bluegrass rhythm like a new heartbeat. Then came the toasts. Mia, my best friend from Stanford, stood from the nearest table, raising her Chardonnay glass high, her brown eyes sparkling under the lanterns. She wore a long blue dress, curly hair cascading loose, and her voice rang clear amid the music. To Olivia and Jackson, those who choose each other every day. And to those who choose you, not born with you. They missed this amazing Napa, with ripe grapes and golden sundae. But we're here for you, Liv. Because you deserve a real family. Applause erupted again, stronger, and I felt the stark contrast. My blood family, with PTA meetings where only Sophia was praised, now like a distant ghost. But here, under the white Napa tent, were people who flew from Texas, drove from San Francisco, just to stand by me. Linda raised her glass too, her voice warm. "Darlin', now you have an extra mom who knows how to bake pecan pie and tell spooky Halloween stories. Welcome home." Jackson squeezed my hand under the table, whispering, "See? We're enough." The party stretched until the sun set behind the vineyard hills, painting the sky purple-pink, and I danced until my feet ached with Jackson's cousins, the bluegrass blending with laughter. The scent of grilled meat and grape salad still lingered, a warm mix reminding me that love can be built, not inherited. But when the music slowed, I slipped to the tent corner, hands trembling as I held the phone one last time. The screen lit up, no messages, no calls, no belated well wishes from Portland. No. "Congratulations, daughter from Mom," no, "I'm proud of my sister" from Sophia. Only emptiness, this time no longer painful. I turned off the screen, breathed in the Napa night air deeply, and whispered to myself. Enough. Let go, Olivia. Jackson found me, pulling me back into the dance circle, and for the first time that day, I laughed for real. Laughed for the future, for the new family, for Napa choosing me. 2 years had passed since the Napa Valley wedding, and I was now Olivia Hayes Reed, CEO of Vista Creative Labs, a startup I built from a cramped Palo Alto garage into a tens of millions empire in downtown San Francisco. Today, our office on the 22nd floor of the Embarcadero Center exploded in cheers, as if all of Silicon Valley was celebrating a big hit. The massive LED screen on the wall displayed the view of the Golden Gate Bridge glittering under the West Coast afternoon sun, fog from San Francisco Bay rolling in like a silent welcome. We had just closed the acquisition deal. $25 million from a top venture capital firm, turning Vista into the parent company of 3 smaller startups specializing in creative apps for young artists. That was the pinnacle of the American dream, or at least the twisted version I had stitched together myself, not from family legacy, but from all-nighters coding while others dreamed of vacations. The office door burst open, and the team rushed in like a whirlwind, 12 talented souls, from young coders in Stanford hoodies to designer Jen with her blue-dyed pixie hair. They carried dripping bottles of Dom Perignon champagne, plastic glasses sparkling under the neon light from the Vista logo hanging from the ceiling. "To Olivia," Jen shouted, her voice shrill over the laughter, raising the first glass. "The one who built from zero while family was busy with other things." She winked, subtly alluding to the empty seats at Napa 2 years ago, and the whole team roared with laughter, cheers echoing through the large glass doors overlooking the bay, where cruise ships lumbered lazily. I laughed along, clinking glasses with them, champagne foam bubbling on my lips, the tart sweet taste spreading like a reward for 5 years of non-stop work. "Thank you everyone," I said, my voice catching with emotion. "Vista isn't mine alone, it's ours." From the first app helping indie artists sell digital art, to now acquiring 3 other studios with a total of 15 million in intellectual property assets. We did it. Applause erupted again, someone cranked up an indie rock playlist from the Bose speakers, and the office turned into a makeshift dance floor. Jen awkwardly hip-hopping by her desk. The young coder recounting my first failed pitch on Sand Hill Road. But amid the joy, I slipped out to the balcony, phone in hand, the salty sea wind whipping my hair. The Golden Gate view blazed red under the afternoon sun, an icon of the American dream, the bridge connecting 2 shores, from chaotic past to bright future. I opened Instagram, intending to post a story about the deal to share with my real chosen family, Mia from New York, Linda from Texas, and the team just now. But my feed showed Sophia's post first, like a bitter reminder from the algorithm. My sister, now 30, posted a photo of her eldest daughter, a 6-year-old girl in Westview Academy private school uniform, walnut blonde hair tied with a red bow, standing in front of the Ivy League-style gates with ancient oak trees. Caption: Emma's first day at Westview. $35K divided by year tuition, but worth every penny for our little star's future. Number Hayes family. Number bright future. Number Portland pride. I zoomed in on the photo, seeing mom and dad behind, mom hugging Emma tightly, dad holding a brand new leather backpack. No comment from me, just a generic like from the Hayes family account, no tag, no personal well-wish. $35K a year for one child, doubled for Sophia's second baby, over $70K divided by year total, drawn from mom and dad's retirement fund, according to whispers from distant relatives in the Midwest. I swiped on, and the feed grew more bitter. A post from last month about a family vacation in Aspen, Colorado, Sophia and husband Ben skiing on the snowy Rocky Mountains, 2 daughters in mini ski gear. Caption: Hayes family conquers Aspen. Thanks to mom and dad for this dream trip. $8K for the villa week, but priceless memories, number American dream, number successful family. Photos of mom and dad grinning by the fireplace, red wine glasses in hand, surely from the savings dad once bragged was for the kids' future. And just last week, dad's retirement party at the Portland Golf Club, a long banquet table with roast beef, lobster salad, and a 3-tier cake, about $5K in costs per the venue tag. Sophia posted a story. Congrats Dad Richard, the great dad who supported me to become a successful lawyer. Olivia sis, like this? You're so successful, I'm so proud. That subtle envy, so proud with sparkling emojis, but no call congratulating my 2.5 to million deal last week. Just a generic like from mom's account, no comment. The twisted American dream. Sophia got everything sponsored, from Harvard tuition, $200K total, to her small Portland law office, $500K loan from mom and dad to start up and fail. While I self-loaned Stanford tuition, slept on office couches to save, and now, Vista was proof of the independence I had to grit my teeth to build. I locked the screen, the bay wind blowing stronger, carrying salt and fog. Over the past 2 years, I had tried not to think about them, focusing on Jackson, on Napa weekends with Linda grilling Texas barbecue, on weekly therapy with my Castro district therapist to heal the second child wound. But those posts were like needles. They lived lavishly on my back indirectly, through family support funds I never received. Vista wasn't just 25 million, it was 5 years negotiating with VCs on Sand Hill, an app helping thousands of young artists make a living from creativity, the American dream I drew myself without Hayes' legacy. I turned back into the office, cheers still echoing, Jen pulling me into the final clink circle. Boss, party in Mission District tonight? She asked. I smiled, but in my head, a decision formed. Tomorrow, I'd head to the Porsche dealership on Union Square. Not to prove to Sophia or mom and dad, but to reward myself, because for the first time, I deserved it from myself. My American dream didn't need likes from Portland. The morning after the 25 to million deal, I drove my beat-up old SUV, an 8-year-old Toyota RAV4 that had rolled through San Francisco's steep streets, to the Porsche dealership on Auto Row, a glittering row of luxury cars in the foggy city heart. Union Square buzzed with tourists snapping photos outside the Apple Store, coffee sent from Starbucks mixing with honking horns, but my mind focused on one thing: self-reward. Not to brag, not to prove to anyone in Portland, simply because I deserved it. After 5 years building Vista from nothing, after all-nighters pitching ideas to investors on Sand Hill Road, after the Napa wedding my family missed, I needed a symbol of my independence. The salesman, a guy named Marco with a professional smile and Armani suit, led me through the glossy showroom, where sleek German-Italian cars gleamed under white halogen lights. Taycan in metallic gray, Turbo S model, I said right away, no hesitation. Marco nodded, leading me to the display model. A sleek body like bay waves, silver gray shining under rare San Francisco sun, 21-inch wheels gleaming, and red wine Alcantara leather interior. $135,000, including customizations, he said, opening the door for me to test sit. The electric engine hummed when started, not roaring like Jackson's Texas muscle car, but a refined purr, powerful, like the whisper of inner strength I'd forged. I test drove on the streets, bay wind blowing through the cracked window, the motor growling softly as I accelerated on Highway 101, passing ordinary Teslas as if asserting I wasn't just keeping up, I was leading. 3 hours later, papers signed, keys in hand, I drove the new Porsche home to Napa Valley, the Alcantara leather hugging my back like an embrace from myself. This wasn't a financed American dream, this was pure, deserved reward. That afternoon, I parked in front of the house garage, San Francisco sun gilding the metallic gray to sparkling silver, like a vivid painting amid the pastel-painted Victorian houses. Jackson was grilling burgers in the backyard, BBQ smoke wafting, and he whistled when he saw me. "Babe, you look like Silicon Valley royalty." He laughed, wiping his hands on his rodeo-printed apron. I laughed too, snapping a simple photo, the shiny Porsche in the driveway, me standing beside with a real smile, no forcing. Posted to Instagram with a short caption, "West Coast Dream. Thanks Vista for the ride. Number self-made, number Napa toss." No tags, no family hashtags, just my moment. Likes poured in. Mia from New York with fire emojis, Jen from the team with boss mode activated. And Linda sending a voice message. "Darlin', drive safe, but enjoy. Mom's so proud." No likes from Portland, and I didn't expect any. Or at least, I thought so. 3 days later, on a drizzly Wednesday morning typical of the Pacific Northwest, though in San Francisco, it was just light fog. My phone buzzed on the kitchen counter as I brewed Ethiopian coffee from the Nespresso machine. The name on the screen, Olivia Hayes. My heart skipped a beat. 5 years of silence, since the Napa wedding, no birthday calls, no messages congratulating Vista's first app launch. Just generic likes on IG, as if I were a distant acquaintance, not a sister. I breathed deep, answered, voice trying to stay calm. "Sophia? It's been a while." Her voice came through from distant Portland, with a light Oregon accent but now laced with urgency, like reading from an American family drama script. "Olivia sis. Yeah, it's been forever. I saw your Porsche pic on Insta. Metallic gray, so pretty. You're rich now, huh? How much did Vista sell for? Mom said you bought a fancy car, so I thought. Had to call." I gripped the coffee mug tightly, the heat seeping through my palm. "So that's it," Sophia, the spark plug, had spotted it via IG algorithm, and now reminded the whole family of my existence. The subtle envy in her voice was obvious. Not congratulations, but probing questions, as if 135K was an implicit invitation to share. "Thanks," I replied, neutral tone. "It's a reward for last week's deal, 25 million, if you're interested. How about you? How's the oldest girl?" Sophia paused a second, then spilled like a dam breaking. "Yeah, Emma's at Westview, 35K divided by year, but she's so smart, like me back then. But, sis, the family needs an emergency meeting in Portland. About my financial mess." Our house is 3 months behind on mortgage, kids' tuition is due soon, and Mom and Dad are bankrupt from failed investments in my career. I started my own law firm, borrowed $500K from their retirement fund to launch, but Portland market's tough. Now they have nothing. You're rich now, help me out. Family, right? That confession was like a slow bomb, the secret Sophia kept hidden, her failure dragging the whole Hayes family down the cliff. Mom and Dad, who once cheered Sophia will change the world at PTA meetings, now exhausted savings propping up her sputtering lawyer dream. Investments in Aspen real estate failed due to high interest rates, loans for the law office now teetering on bankruptcy. And me? The overlooked independent sister, suddenly the lifeline. Sophia's envy was clear, her voice trembled, not with fear but resentment. Why did you get the Porsche, the Vista, while I struggle with debt? Family meeting? I repeated, my voice colder than San Francisco fog. After 5 years of not a word, after Napa, now suddenly, I'm the financial problem? And Mom knows about the car from you, right? Sophia hesitated. Yeah. I tagged Mom in your story. I thought you'd be happy to show off. Sis, tomorrow? Mom and Dad are waiting at the old house. The Hayes family needs each other. I hung up, heart pounding, staring out the window where fog obscured the Golden Gate. Sophia, the spark plug of my life's title. She spotted the Porsche, reminded Mom and Dad of me, not out of love but desperation. That bankruptcy's secret explained everything. The lavish IG posts were a fragile facade, masking the collapse. But instead of anger, I felt a strange clarity. They never saw me, only my wallet. I called Jackson, told him briefly, and he replied, "You don't owe them anything, Liv. But if you go, I'm with you." No, this time I went alone. I packed my bag, tossed it in the Porsche trunk, and started the engine. The electric motor purred softly on Highway 101, bay wind whipping my hair through the cracked window, carrying salt and freedom. 10 hours to Portland, time enough to reflect on the journey. From the Franklin girl with the overlooked painting, to the Vista woman with 25 million, and now, facing family not to salvage, but to close. The highway wound through Sonoma Hills, Napa flashing by like a reminder of the wedding, and I wondered, would Portland change, or just be the stage for the old play? The Porsche Taycan's engine purred softly as I rolled out of San Francisco onto Highway 101, the West Coast afternoon sun fading behind bay fog, giving way to winding roads through Sonoma and Napa, the valley of the wedding 2 years ago, now just a fleeting memory like the lush green vines flashing by the window. 10 hours to Portland, a familiar but today heavier journey, as if each mile was a layer I had to shed to face the white colonial wooden house in Beaverton suburbs. I turned on the Bose Sound System podcast, choosing the latest episode of Unlocking Us with Brené Brown, a Texas woman Jackson teased as my fairy godmother. Today's theme, chosen family, building relationships not from blood. Brené's voice rang warm, in that authentic Southern style. Family isn't who you're born with, but who chooses to stay with you through the storms. They see you, truly see you, not the version they want you to be. Those words stabbed straight to my heart, making the steering wheel tremble slightly as I merged onto I-5, the straight highway through Oregon wheat fields and northwest pine forests, where fall leaves scattered gold under the tires. This drive wasn't just driving, it was a long, dragging flashback reel, pulling me back to lonely Christmases in my Stanford dorm. I remembered my sophomore year, snow blanketing outside the Palo Alto window, while I sat alone with a frozen pizza box and the Artist's Way as company. The Hayes family in Portland, around a twinkling tree with Neiman Marcus gifts, all for Sophia, the 6-year-old who just won the National Debate Award. "Fly home, Liv," Mom called before Christmas, her voice casual over the phone. "But Sophia has a debate team party, so maybe. Next year? We'll mail your gift." Mine was a cheap wool scarf, no holiday card, while Sophia posted IG stories of perfect family Christmas opening a new iPhone. I cried alone under the dorm neon lights, wondering. They never needed me, so why now? Now, on I-5, that question repeated like a chorus, mingling with wind whistling through the cracked window, carrying fresh pine scent from Willamette National Forest. Then the memory of the overlooked scholarship flooded back, sharp as an old scar. It was the full Stanford scholarship ceremony, under the glass dome of Memorial Auditorium, where hundreds of parents clapped wildly for their kids. I stepped onto the stage, black graduation robe swaying, holding the $50K certificate, reward for my digital art thesis that Franklin teacher called genius work. Thank you, Mom and Dad, I said into the mic, voice faltering with hope. But in the audience, only Mia clapped alone. The Hayes seats were empty. Later, Mom called. Sorry honey, Sophia had an important volleyball game, the team needed her to lead. You understand, right? The scholarship is because you're independent. Independent, the word echoed again, like the curse of PTA meetings where only Sophia was praised. I swallowed tears, smiled awkwardly with friends, but that night, in my San Francisco therapist's office, I truly broke down. Flashback to the last therapy session, 2 weeks ago, in the cozy Castro district office with faint lavender scent from the diffuser. My therapist, Mrs. Rivera, a Mexican-American woman with a voice gentle as Pacific waves, sat across, notebook on her lap. Olivia, boundaries aren't walls, they're garden fences, protecting what you cultivate. I told her about Napa, the generic IG likes, and she asked. What do you fear most facing them this time? I whispered. Afraid they'll make me the second child again, only calling when they need saving. She nodded. So, remember, your worth isn't from blood. It's from what you build, Vista, Jackson, chosen family. Those words now echoed on I-5, as Brené's podcast shifted to a guest story. A Silicon Valley woman cutting ties with toxic family to build a mentor community for Latina women. They choose you, because you deserve it, Brené concluded, and I turned off the speakers, letting the starting rain patter on the windshield as I neared Portland. My phone buzzed, screen showing a text from Jackson. Miss you being strong, darlin'. Call me anytime you need a Texas-style extraction. Love you. I smiled, fingers swiping quick. I'm good. We'll tell later. Love you. Then an email from Naomi Blake, Vista's first investor, pinged in. Liv, saw the deal on TechCrunch. Your worth isn't from blood, it's from lifting others, like you do with apps for young artists. Don't let Portland cloud your eyes. Board meeting Monday. Calendar reminder popped. Production meeting at 4 p.m. Monday, followed by the Bay Area Women's Mentor Campaign. Those messages were like lighthouses on the rainy highway, reminding me of the boundaries I'd drawn. Not to punish, but to protect. Protect Vista, protect my marriage to Jackson, protect myself. Portland rain now thicker, pattering on the windshield like whispers from the northwest pine forests, towering Douglas firs flashing by the road, wet leaves under Porsche headlights. The Beaverton suburbs view emerged, white colonial wooden houses side by side, white picket fences and green lawns, icons of the Midwestern American dream my parents once chased. I turned into the old house driveway, engine shutting off silently, and stepped out into the drizzle, the metallic gray Porsche gleaming under the yellow street lamp. The front door flew open before I could knock, and Mom and Dad stood there, Mr. Richard with thinning silver hair, Mrs. Elaine with her worn cashmere sweater. Their eyes flicked from me to the car, shocked enough that Elaine nearly dropped her teacup. Olivia. That car, Dad stammered, not daughter, but appraising the asset, like at PTA meetings back then. I breathed deep, rain and damp earth scent hitting my nose, and stepped in, ready for the play to begin. I crossed the threshold of the old white colonial wooden house in Beaverton suburbs, Portland, where the stale old coffee smell, cheap Folgers from the Safeway supermarket that Mom still brewed every morning, hit my nose, blending with polished oak wood scent from the long dining table in the dining room. The drizzle still pattered outside the foggy glass windows, the northwest pine forest view now dark under Oregon's gray sky, as if the weather was colluding with the stifling air ahead. Mom and Dad sat at the table ends, Mr. Richard with thinning silver hair and reading glasses slipped down his nose, flipping through a crumpled stack of financial papers. Mrs. Elaine beside, her worn cashmere sweater hugging her slim frame, hands clutching a cold teacup. Sophia and Ben, her husband, a failed real estate broker in a faded gray suit and crooked tie, sat opposite, Sophia's face pale under the Victorian hanging light. No welcome hug, no darling daughter, we missed you. Just eyes quickly flicking from me to the Porsche parked in the driveway, still glistening with rain under the street lamp. Sit down, Olivia, Dad said, his voice gravelly like at PTA meetings back then, pushing a wooden chair toward me. I sat, my leather Vista handbag placed lightly on my lap, feeling like a fragile shield between me and them. The dining room air was heavy, stale coffee scent spreading from the pot on the table, mixing with damp paper smell, the debt bills Sophia mentioned on the phone. Let's get straight to it, Dad continued, sliding a thick folder across the glossy oak table, where childhood fork and knife scratches still remained. Loan $200K. Low interest, pay back over 5 years. Sophia's house 3 months behind on mortgage, $1.2 million for the Lake Oswego place, good area for kids. Westview tuition for Emma and Lily, $70K divided by year, due soon. We, the family, need help. Mrs. Elaine nodded, eyes teary. Daughter, think of the grandkids. They're just children. Sophia slid a brown leather photo album across the table, opening to the first page. Photos of Emma and Lily, 4- and 6-year-old girls grinning in Westview uniforms, walnut blonde hair tied with red bows, standing before the school gates with ancient oak trees. They ask about Aunt Olivia all the time, Sophia whispered, voice trembling, fingers tracing the photo like caressing pain. Emma drew pictures for you, but Aunt didn't come to birthdays. They need stability, sis. Just $200K, to save the house, save school. The Hayes family always supports each other. Ben nodded in agreement, hand squeezing Sophia's. Right. Portland real estate market's tough, Sophia's law office. Needs time. The emotional manipulation was blatant, like PTA meetings where they used Sophia's medals to cover my overlooking now grandkids' photos to pull me into the debt spiral. I breathed deep, the stale coffee turning my stomach, and pushed the album back toward them. Before we talk money, let's talk Napa, I said, voice calm but sharp as a blade. 2 years ago, 3 empty seats in the front row. Mom promised to fly from Portland, Dad promised family wine. Sophia promised to be maid of honor. But your lawyer event was more important. And before that, Stanford scholarship, Christmas in the dorm, Franklin painting shoved in a drawer. You only call when you need money, right? The dining room fell silent, only rain pattering outside the foggy windows like a countdown clock. Dad frowned. Past is past. This is now. Blood is thicker than water. I shook my head. But love isn't debt, Dad. It's presence. At Napa, at my milestones. Sophia suddenly burst into tears, tears streaming down her cheeks, hand over mouth as if my words had pierced her shell. You don't understand. She sobbed, voice breaking across the oak table where we once had family dinners with grilled meat and mashed potatoes. Mom and Dad pushed me to be a lawyer to make up for your failure. You were too independent, you went to Stanford, built Vista, didn't need anyone, so they poured all expectations into me. Sophia will be the star, because Olivia doesn't need it. I was jealous from little, you know. I saw you drawing alone in the garage, while Mom and Dad clapped for me at debate. Now my office is bankrupt. Aspen investment failed because of high interest, and they lost all retirement. $300K poured into me. I didn't want this. That confession was a bomb, tension rising, Mrs. Elaine hugging Sophia, whispering honey, don't. While Ben sat silent, face flushed. Jealousy from childhood, so that's it, Sophia wasn't just the favored star, but a victim of twisted expectations, where my independence became a burden on her. I sat there, heart pounding under the oak table, inner conflict surging. Part of me wanted to hug Sophia, write the check to erase the debt, because blood after all. But the other part, forged from Napa, from castrotherapy, screamed, no. This wasn't love, this was manipulation, the cycle of overlooking repeating. You're wrong, I said, voice firmer than ever. My independence wasn't failure, it was choice, because you never saw me. And now, I won't save with money. I have another decision. I opened my handbag, pulling out the Vista papers, ready to reveal, not loans, but a scholarship fund, my true legacy. The old house dining room air in Beaverton was heavy as the stale coffee lingering on the oak table, where childhood scratches now witnessed my decisive moment. Sophia still sobbed, tears streaming down her cheeks, her childhood jealousy confession hanging like a freed curse. Mom and Dad had pushed her to be the star to compensate for my independent failure, and now, her collapse dragged the whole Hayes family down. Mom and Dad sat silent, Mr. Richard gripping the table edge. Mrs. Elaine wiping Sophia's tears with crumpled tissue. Ben, Sophia's husband, looked at me with furtive pleading eyes, as if $200K was the key to salvaging their Portland suburban life. But I was no longer the Franklin girl holding the painting shoved in a drawer. I was Olivia Hayes Reed, who built Vista from a Palo Alto garage, and today, I would build legacy, not for debt, but for girls overlooked like I once was. I pulled from my handbag the thick stack of papers, premium stock from the San Francisco Vista office, with the board's green seal and Naomi Blake's signature. Not alone, I said, voice calm spreading through the dining room like cool bay wind from San Francisco. This is my decision, the Hayes Vision Scholarship Fund. $18 million, for young women in creative tech fields. Named after Miss Harper, Franklin teacher, the first to see my painting talent, when you were busy clapping for Sophia's debate medals. I slid the papers across the glossy oak table, the first page a press release. Vista Creative Labs commits $18 million from recent deal profits, creating scholarships for 100 girls aged 18 to 25, prioritizing those from unsupportive families. Stanford courses, Silicon Valley mentoring, and personal startup funds. No strings, no expectations, just opportunity. The dining room sank into stunned silence, only rain pattering outside the foggy windows like a pounding heartbeat. Dad grabbed the papers, eyes scanning the 18 million figure, his face paling under the Victorian hanging light. 18 million? You're using it for strangers? We're family, Olivia. Mrs. Elaine whispered, voice breaking, hand reaching for mine, but I gently pulled back. Sophia jerked up, red eyes, and suddenly snatched the papers from Dad's hand, slamming them down hard on the table, sheets flying like falling autumn leaves on the oak floor. A shock making the whole room jump. You're selfish. She screamed, voice shrill, drowning the Portland rain, tears now mixed with rage. You have the Porsche, Vista, warm Texas husband, what about me? I was jealous from little because you were too independent, now you use that money for overlooked girls. You're the one who overlooked me. Mom and Dad pushed me to be a lawyer because you didn't need it, and now you abandon us with debt. Selfish. Selfish American dream style of yours. That scream pierced the air, connecting straight to my childhood, PTA meetings where Sophia was praised, and I quietly drew in the Franklin garage, Miss Harper, the only one praising. You have vision, Olivia. Don't let anyone snuff it. Now, the scholarship fund was legacy from that memory, not revenge, but inspiration, helping other girls not be the second child, not prove worth through medals or million-dollar apps. I had recorded the whole conversation from stepping in, the Vista phone app running silently, like legal protection, timer showing 12 minutes 47 seconds. You help overlooked girls like you once did to me, I said to Sophia, voice gentle but firm, eyes locking on her red ones. Miss Harper saw me when no one did. Now I see them, and maybe, one day, you'll see yourself without jealousy or expectations from anyone. Sophia slumped into her chair, hands covering her face, sobs rising again, while Mom and Dad exchanged bewildered glances. 18 million, the amount that could save their Lake Oswego house, pay Westview tuition, even rebuild the shattered retirement fund from Sophia's failed investments. But it was locked in a trust, board including Naomi and Bay Area tech women approved last week, irreversible. The chance to show up is gone, I said, standing, gathering the scattered papers into my handbag. Not at Napa, not at Stanford, and not today. I've waited 32 years for you to see me, now I see myself. I turned my back, stepping to the front door, high heels clicking rhythm on the wood floor like a freedom beat. The door closed behind me with a soft click, but to me, it rang like liberation, drowning Sophia's scream Olivia, come back. And Mom's plea daughter. Portland rain now heavier, pattering on the colonial eaves, but I had no umbrella, just the metallic gray Porsche waiting in the driveway, gleaming under the dim yellow street lamp. I slid into the Alcantara seat, starting the electric engine's soft growl, and sped out of the suburb street, tires slashing rain puddles like tearing past chains. I-5 loomed dark under the rain, northwest pine forests flashing like ghosts, but this time, I wasn't afraid, wind from the cracked window carrying freedom's scent, overpowering the old coffee smell of that house. On the I-5 back to San Francisco, Portland rain gradually yielding to familiar bay fog, but my phone buzzed relentlessly like an unending electronic storm. I had silenced notifications, but when I pulled over at a rest stop near Eugene, Oregon, to refuel the Porsche, the screen lit with a barrage of voicemails and texts, fallout from the liberating door slam at the Beaverton Colonial House. First from Sophia, voice shrill through speaker. You're so mean, Olivia. What scholarship fund? That's family money, you used it for strangers to get revenge on me. I hate you. Come back, Emma's crying because Aunt doesn't love her niece. Then Ben, Liv, think of the kids. We can negotiate. But Mom's voicemail was the real knife, Mrs. Elaine, voice trembling in that middle American parent style, full of emotional manipulation. Honey, you abandoned family. We were wrong, but that 18 million could save everything: house, school, Sophia's future. You're the oldest daughter, your responsibility. Don't let the press know, everyone will think you're selfish. Call mom, love. Her words echoed in the car, gasoline smell mixing with damp air, making my hands grip the wheel tight. Familiar manipulation, from Napa to now, always responsibility and family to pull me back into the whirlpool. I deleted them all, drove on, but the harassment didn't stop. The next morning, as I sat in the Vista office on the 22nd floor of Embarcadero Center, San Francisco, sipping a latte from Blue Bottle Coffee, the phone buzzed again, this time a call from reception. Miss Hayes Reed, your family. They're here. Causing a scene in the lobby. My heart skipped. Through the large office glass windows bustling with activity, where the coding team typed furiously at open desks, the LED screen showing Bayview with distant Alcatraz peeking in fog, an icon of isolation I now found relatable. I looked down to the lobby. Mom and Dad and Sophia stood there, faces flushed under neon lights, Mrs. Elaine waving frantically with a homemade sign, Olivia, family needs you. Sophia yelling at reception, my sister's on 22, let us up. Mr. Richard awkwardly holding a bouquet of wildflowers from Safeway like a clumsy apology. Lobby guests and staff murmured, a few filming with iPhones, a chaotic American scene, where family drama invaded professional space. I hit the intercom, security, escort them out, professional please. No arguments. Just 10 minutes later, through the office glass view, I saw the security team politely but firmly leading them to the elevator, Mrs. Elaine sobbing. My daughter abandoned us. Sophia yelling, this is workplace harassment, Mr. Richard mumbling, we just want to talk. The Vista team looked at me, Jen whispering boss, need to call lawyers? I nodded, firing off an email to Vista's personal attorney, a sharp woman named Patricia from a financial district firm, attached Portland meeting recording and lobby video. Request no contact order for office and personal communication. Any contact must go through you. The email sent with a decisive click, and I exhaled. Alcatraz view now a reminder. Boundaries were self-imposed prisons, to protect freedom. That afternoon, I drove the Porsche home to Napa Valley, bay wind whipping hair through the cracked window, and called therapist Mrs. Rivera in Castro District. Emergency Zoom session, her office cozy with virtual lavender scent from webcam. Olivia, tell me. I spilled it all. Manipulative voicemails, chaotic lobby scene, Hayes vision papers thrown. I'm angry, I admitted, voice shaking over the screen, my home balcony view with swaying palm trees outside. Angry they turned me into the savior, angry at Sophia's childhood jealousy, angry Napa still hurts. But I'm free, ma'am. For the first time, I'm not chasing recognition. Mrs. Rivera smiled, flipping notebook page. Anger is normal, Olivia. It's a sign you're protecting yourself. Boundaries are self-love, not high walls, but garden fences, so what you cultivate at Vista, in marriage, can bloom. You did right. Her words spread like San Francisco sun-piercing fog, turning anger to clarity. They defined me by responsibility, but I defined myself by the healing journey. That evening, the journey continued through community, dinner with the Vista team at Mission Chinese in Mission District, where spicy Szechuan scents mingled with ringing laughter under red lanterns. Jen raised her Sauvignon Blanc glass. To the boss, who doesn't just acquire startups but acquires herself. We sat around the long wooden table, mapo tofu and cumin lamb sizzling on cast iron skillets, sharing stories from failed sandhill pitches to all-night coding in the Palo Alto garage. What kind of family shows up at the office causing chaos? A young coder asked, and I laughed, briefly recounting the Hayes Vision Fund. It'll change lives for girls like me back then. Naomi Blake, my investor and mentor, joined via FaceTime from her Pacific Heights penthouse. Liv, don't let them define you. You're Vista, Napa, the woman building legacy from ashes. They're the old chapter, you're the new book. That advice, from the woman who poured the first $2 million into my startup, was like a hug from chosen family, drowning old manipulative voicemails in my head. The next morning, the SF office buzzed again, keyboard clacks, Keurig coffee scent, Alcatraz view sparkling in rare sun, but an email from Patricia confirmed, no, contact order served. Any violation leads to lawsuit. I silenced the family phone, focused on the Vista board meeting, where we discussed the first scholarship applicants, a 19-year-old girl from Oakland, drawing art apps like me back then. Healing wasn't lonely, it was community, spicy dinners and mission, advice from Naomi. But then, the phone buzzed. Not family, but Delia Warren from the San Francisco Chronicle. Olivia, heard about the family dispute and scholarship fund. Interview possible? Your story's spreading. The press had the story, the new chapter began, not drama, but power. Thursday morning after the session with Mrs. Rivera, I sat at my desk in the Vista office on the 22nd floor of Embarcadero Center, San Francisco, sipping a matcha latte from a local spot, when Delia Warren's email pinged in, not just an interview invite, but a draft article. Your story's spreading, she wrote. I confirmed with Portland sources. Family dispute, 18 to million scholarship. Ready to read? My heart raced, the bay view outside the large windows with Alcatraz peeking in fog now like a reminder of the prisons I'd escaped. I opened the attachment, headline from empty Napa seats to 18 million legacy, Vista CEO chooses scholarships over family bailout. The San Francisco Chronicle article opened with the lobby chaos from last week, my mom sobbing with the sign family needs you. Sophia yelling at security, then flipped. Olivia Hayes, Reed, 32, founder of Vista Creative Labs, turned personal pain into community power. 2 years ago, her Napa Valley wedding had 3 empty seats from parents and sister, prioritizing their lawyer event. Now, instead of bailing out family debt, 1.2 million mortgage, $70K divided by year private school tuition, Hayes Reed invested $18 million in the Hayes Vision Scholarship Fund, supporting overlooked young women in creative tech. The piece highlighted the Napa absence as a symbol. They missed the day she walked alone down the greenvine aisle, but now, thousands of women won't have to walk alone. Community exploded right after online posting. LinkedIn likes from Naomi Blake with proud mentor, texts from Mia Liv, you're a heroine, and hundreds of comments from Bay Area tech women. Thank you for seeing us. But drama too. Sophia posted an IG story deleted soon after, my sister made this up for fame, leading to backlash, her ex-colleagues commenting. Sophia used to brag Harvard on parents' dime, now what? I didn't read it all. Instead, I called Delia to thank. Great piece, I said. She laughed over the phone. You're brave, Olivia. One last question. Family proud yet? I breathed deep, Golden Gate view glittering in the sun, my success doesn't need them. It needs those who choose to see me, like Miss Harper back then, like the Vista team now. The interview followed at a Hayes Valley coffee shop, where toasted bread scent mixed with coffee grinder whirs. Delia, a 40-year-old reporter with black bob hair and leather notebook, sat across, scribbling fast. The Hayes Vision Fund isn't just money, I shared. It's for girls like me, drawing in the Franklin garage, overlooked because too independent. We'll mentor the first 100.100.100.100.1 Stanford courses, 50K startup funds each. Because someone has to see them before they see themselves. Delia nodded. And Napa? What do those 3 empty seats mean now? They mean I learned to walk alone. I replied, voice firm. The interview piece ran the next week, propelling the fund to TechCrunch headlines, donations pouring in, applications from Oakland, Portland, even Texas, where my Jackson family is spreading the word. Inner conflict hit when I selected the first scholarship, Maya Torres, 19 from East Bay, via application video. She sat in a small Oakland apartment, sketching an art app on an old laptop, voice trembling. My family prioritizes my brother for engineering. I'm just the dreamy artist. But I want to build an app for Latina women telling stories through digital art. Maya was like young me, resilient brown eyes, abstract overlooked drawing on crumpled paper, tightening my heart. In that moment, alone in the Vista office, Bayview Gray, I nearly picked up to call Sophia. Sis, I get your jealousy now, maybe. Forgive a bit. Conflict surged. Was forgiveness weakness, or were boundaries forever abandonment? But then, an email from Mrs. Rivera pinged. Remember, forgiveness isn't forgetting, it's for you, not them. I chose boundaries, messaging Maya, welcome to the fund. We'll build together. No call to Portland, because Maya deserved a full-hearted mentor, not a sister distracted by the past. The climax that year was the Women in Tech Award at the TechCrunch Disrupt conference in Moscone Center, San Francisco, a sea of people under blinding Silicon Valley neon lights, massive LED screens, flashing startup logos, pizza sent from food trucks mixing with echoing pitch decks. I stepped onto the stage in a tailored black suit, holding the heavy crystal trophy, the crowd applauding wildly, no empty seats, just chosen family. Jackson from Texas clapping loudest, Naomi winking from the front row, Jen cheering boss, from backstage. Thank you, I said into the mic, voice booming over speakers, this award isn't for me alone. It's for the Hayes Vision Fund, for Maya and 99 other girls changing tech. Because success isn't millions, it's lifting those overlooked. Neon lights bathed my face, the city night view sparkling outside the high-rise windows, like an affirmation. I had seen myself. Chosen family solidified that Thanksgiving, not dry turkey in Portland, but at Jackson's family home in Austin, Texas, we flew back for the year-end trip. Long wooden table under ranch chandelier, roasted turkey with cranberry sauce scent spreading, Mrs. Linda hugging me. Darlin', no empty seats this year, just love. Jackson's cousins told rodeo tales, Mia video called from New York with congrats on the award, and Naomi sent Napa wine. For your legacy. Laughter drowned every old voicemail, and when Maya texted thanks sis for the chance, I knew. Boundaries didn't isolate, they expanded chosen family, from Bay Area to Texas. But Portland still called, an email from mom, let's meet at a neutral coffee shop. Just talk. Final meeting, I thought, perhaps time to close completely. A week after the San Francisco Chronicle piece, mom's email arrived, not manipulative voicemail, but a simple invite, meet at a neutral coffee shop in downtown Portland? Just us two. No Sophia, no pressure. I hesitated, sitting in the Vista office with glittering bay view under rare sun, fingers scrolling a packed calendar. Inner conflict rose again, was forgiveness opening the door to old pain? But Mrs. Rivera advised, meet to close, Olivia. Not to save. I flew the early morning from SFO, leaving the Porsche in Napa Valley garage for Jackson, landing at PDX amid familiar northwest drizzle. Powell City of Books coffee shop, a cozy corner in the world's largest bookstore, with old paper scent mixing with Italian espresso roast, was our spot. I arrived early, sitting at a long wooden table by shelves of women's memoirs, steaming Americano in hand, Portland Street View bustling with bikes and pedestrians under golden maple canopies. Mom and Dad walked in on time, looking older than I remembered, Mr. Richard with slightly hunched back, old suit from his Portland accounting days, Mrs. Elaine in a frayed wool coat, silver hair neatly bunned but eyes shadowed with bags. They sat across, no hug, just awkward nods. Thank you for coming, Mom whispered, voice trembling as she ordered a latte from the barista. Dad cleared his throat, looking me straight in the eye for the first time in years. We were wrong, Olivia. Wrong from Franklin PTA meetings, when we praised Sophia and overlooked your painting. Wrong at Napa, when the lawyer event mattered more than your wedding. Wrong using all retirement to support your sister, thinking you independent didn't need it. We didn't see you. Those admissions flooded like a bittersweet river, mixing with roasted coffee scent, bringing tears to my eyes. Mom held Dad's hand, continuing. That article. It hurt. But it was right. We favored Sophia out of fear of failing you, you went to Stanford, built Vista, we thought you didn't need us. Now we've lost everything, and realized losing you was the biggest loss. I breathed deep, old books sent from the nearby shelves like a reminder of the healing memoirs I'd read, Brené Brown. Glennon Doyle, Women Teaching That Healing Starts with Truth. I appreciate the admission, I said, voice firm though heart pounded. But healing starts with accountability, not apologies. I require you both start therapy, individual, with a Portland therapist. After 6 months, we meet again, limited contact. No money, no drama. I'm not closing the door forever, but I need to see change, not convenience. Dad nodded slowly, eyes misty. We'll do it. For you. We sat another half hour, no hug, just talking Portland weather and shelf books, a fragile start, but the first time I felt balanced. Leaving the shop, rain had stopped, sun filtering through tree canopies, and I flew back to SF, lighter-hearted, knowing boundaries weren't abandonment, but foundation for truth. The surprise element came 2 weeks later, via mail from Portland. A handwritten letter from Sophia, simple craft envelope, no emojis or IG filters. I opened it at the Napa Valley kitchen table, Jackson beside with a hot plate of Texas brisket. Her handwriting, shaky but sincere, spanned 3 pages. Dear Sis Olivia, I'm writing this after reading the article for the 10th time. I was wrong. Jealousy from little wasn't your fault, but my fear. Mom and Dad pushed me to be a lawyer to make up for your independence, but I used it as an excuse to resent. I screamed you were selfish in Beaverton because I feared losing everything: house, school, star image. But the Hayes Vision Fund. It's beautiful. I saw Maya in her application video, and remembered you drawing in the Franklin garage. I'm sorry, truly. No begging for money, just want you to know I'm trying therapy, because Emma asks about Aunt. Time, sis. Sophia. That letter made me cry, not pain, but release. I chose time, texting brief. Thanks sis. Heal first, meet later. No rush. Legacy wasn't instant mending, but journey. 1 year later, in November 2025, I stood in the new Hayes Vision Fund studio in Soma, San Francisco. An open space with large glass walls, West Coast golden sun flooding in, bay view glittering with the curving Bay Bridge far off, symbol of the freedom I'd found. Maya Torres, now 20, was adjusting the camera for her first short film project, a documentary on overlooked Latina women in tech, shot with a Vista creative app. Sis Olivia, how's this angle? She asked, brown eyes bright under the sun, curly hair in a ponytail, hands steady on the tripod more than last year. I stepped over, tweaking lightly. Try lower, catch the bay light reflection, it symbolizes opening paths, like I dreamed at Franklin. We laughed, camera wore soft blending with bay waves from the outside view, and when Maya replayed footage, her scene on walking alone like my Napa, I knew the healing loop had closed. From overlooked drawing girl, to mentor lifting others. That year's climax was the Community Impact Award at the Women in Tech Alliance Gala in Yerba Buena Center, under sparkling San Francisco neon lights, city night view with thousands of lights like falling stars. I stepped onto the stage, silk black dress hugging close, holding the heavy silver trophy, crowd applauding, Jackson in the front row with his Texas smile, Naomi clapping from the VIP table. Maya cheering from backstage with Sis. This award is for the Hayes Vision Fund, I said, voice booming over the mic, for the 100 girls who got scholarships this year, not millions, but belief. Because family is who lifts you, not who births you. Applause swelled, and I thought of Portland. They had started therapy, monthly emails from mom and dad on progress, Sophia's second letter about I'm drawing again, because of you. Limited contact, but genuine. That year ended with me driving the metallic gray Porsche through Napa Valley again, not a wedding, but a weekend trip with Jackson, wind carrying ripe grape and wild lavender scents. On Highway 29, amid lush green vines under afternoon sun, I glimpsed a familiar sedan parked roadside. Mom and Dad, hand in hand gazing at the hills, their faces more peaceful. Our eyes met through the car windows, a brief moment, no stop, no words. I smiled, accelerated, wind whipping my hair, and whispered to myself. They taught me what love isn't: conditions, favoritism, overlooking. I learned it from those who chose me. Jackson with Texas brisket, Naomi with sharp advice, Maya with shining eyes, Vista team with Mission District laughter. Family is the lifting journey, and I've found mine. The Porsche sped toward Napa sunset, true freedom, not fleeing, but toward new legacy, where every overlooked girl has her own path.